Okay, so you had ads that were working great for your Shopify or e-commerce store, and then they dropped out. What can you do? Here are 7 different ways to troubleshoot your advertising when you were performing really well and something fell out the bottom and now you got to fix it. So here's number 1. First step, check your platforms and connections and pixels. Sometimes when you are working on your site, maybe you're making a technical change or you add an app, or for whatever reason, somebody's in your account and something happens, doing something as simple as resetting the pixel or disconnecting a connection could have serious impact on performance. So re-look at all of your connections and pixels, make sure you have the right tech in place throughout your ecosystem so that you are sending the right signals, whether you're using Google ads or Facebook ads or Pinterest or anything, so that they are getting accurate data on your e-commerce store. Number 2, test your checkout. Same thing, make sure that the purchase pathway is not blocked and it's very easy for people to add to cart and then check out. Sometimes when apps get added or other people in your account, sometimes something can happen where the checkout can get a little screwed up. So look at your checkout flow and make sure it's easy for people to buy. Number 3, isolate the problem. Typically when your return on ad spend is at a good metric and your cost per acquisition is at a good metric, you don't need to dig into all the supplemental metrics like CTR and CPC. However, when things are not working well, you do want to do a look back, see where your CTR and CPC and CPM on your ads, what they were looking like when ads were working well and when now that they're not. Look at all those metrics and see what changed. Potentially, platforms moved your advertising to different placements or different types of audiences. And with the algorithms and machine learning the way that they are, sometimes we don't have insight into that with certain platforms. But looking at things like CPC and CPM, they can give us an indicator as to how those platforms are showing our ads. And so you want to look at those and see if there's a big discrepancy between those supplemental metrics. Number 4, look at your on-site reviews and engagement with your ads. This is more for ads on a visual platform like Facebook where people can actually engage. But you want to look to see, did something happen where all of a sudden you were getting a bunch of bad reviews that were published to your site and now consumers are seeing that and that would stop them from checking out? Maybe you had an ad creative that was kicking butt and you had lots of positive reviews from previous customers talking about how much they love the product. And then all of a sudden, some people were bad-mouthing the product and you had reviews that were not so good and those are surfacing to the top. And if that's what new potential consumers are seeing, that's going to affect your advertising. So look through all of your creative that's delivering most of your performance, what it was doing before, and look at the engagement on that now, along with your on-site reviews. Number 5, next up, go back to basics. Specificity matters. If something, when you're running ads, if you were performing really well and something changed, go back to basics. Get hyper targeted with your audience targeting. Get very specific with your copywriting. Get very specific with your creative, your images and videos, and make sure there's no ambiguity. No ambiguity. Go back to basics and serve an ad that is very clear as to the benefits of your brand and product, how that can help consumers. Serve it to the right people, show it to them at the right time on the right platforms, and very clearly explain in the copy why this will benefit them. Get hyper specific. Now is not the time to get esoteric and try to get super, super creative. Go back to basics and see how that works. Number 6, look at your competitive set. Sometimes a competitor can come into the marketplace or an existing competitor starts to flood the market with lots of advertising. That can impact your performance, especially if they were doing something like coming up with new, potentially better products, or they're telling a better story, or they're undercutting you on price. So look at your competitive set because that can definitely have an impact on the performance for your advertising. Number 7, last up, you can install a heat mapping and survey app on your site so that you can then look at how consumers are viewing your content and engaging with your content. And you can combine that with Google Analytics to see what your engagement stat looks like, what your engagement looks like on your website, And they often have a survey component to it. So you can ask consumers why, how they found you, and if they're not going to purchase, why they are not purchasing. You can also combine that with any customer service apps you have, let's say a messenger bot, and you can see what types of requests are coming through there. If you're seeing lots of the same questions that are an obstacle to purchase, make sure you're solving for that in your marketing. If you're seeing questions where maybe people aren't the right fit for your brand, make sure you're going back to your targeting and you're targeting the right audiences. So these are 7 ways to fix your ad account if you were performing really well and now you're not. These are 7 things to look at. There's lots of other things you could do, but here's 7 places to start to get your advertising back on track.